Now, while reaching out to these contacts to talk about the event creates a great conversation and makes the cold call warm, what we don't want to do is to have the entire call be about the event and then end the call. Hello, it's Michael Halper from SalesScripter, and if you are a salesperson or a marketing department, one of the best ways to generate leads is to host events such as webinars or conferences, or to set up a booth at a trade show or a conference. And with any of those, what you will end up with is a list of contacts or prospects. And all of these contacts are leads. And now what we need to do is we need to follow up with those leads. And in this video, I'm going to share a process that you can use for cold calling those leads and getting those leads into your pipeline. Now, everything that I'm going to show you here today is going to build around three key concepts. And the first concept is that when we call these leads or these contacts, we're basically cold calling them. But what we're going to do is we're going to use the event that they attended or that they registered for, and we're going to use that event to make this cold call warm. And the way that we're going to do that is that we're going to basically position our outreach to them as following up on the event, and that we want to ask them some questions. So here are some questions that you can ask basically for any event, and I'll show you how these fit into a cold call script later in the presentation. The next concept is that we want to transition back to our cold call script. Now, while reaching out to these contacts to talk about the event creates a great conversation and makes the cold call warm, what we don't want to do is to have the entire call be about the event and then end the call. We want to use the event and talk about the event to make the cold call warm and to establish the call. And as soon as we've done that, we want to transition back to our cold call script. Not to say that we want to make the call cold, but we want to get back to the key things that we would accomplish in our cold call script. And the way that we'll do that in the script that I show you is that we can use pain questions to transition away from talking about the event to talking about the cold call script. And to show you what this looks like in terms of what questions you could ask or how you could work this into your cold call script, I'm going to actually use a real cold call script or a real product example. And I'm going to actually use the product of the Smart Sales System, which is what we sell here at SalesScripter. And I'm going to use the cold call script and the event follow-up script for selling the Smart Sales System. And before I show you what this cold call script looks like, just to show you the process that I went through to create this cold call script, it starts with brainstorming the product that you sell, and the product is the Smart Sales System. And then for any cold call script, we recommend you thinking about who am I cold calling? And for this cold call script, we're going to be cold calling sales trainers that attended one of our events. And then we want to think about how does what we're trying to sell help this particular audience? So here are some benefits. And then we reverse engineer those benefits to think about what are the pain points that those benefits can make go away. And if we've thought of good pain points that we can address, then we can think of good pain questions to ask, and also probably think of some good current state questions to ask. And then we might want to share a customer example. So by going through this process, we can create the script that I'm going to show you here in a minute. But getting back to the three concepts, here are the questions we could ask to transition away from talking about the event. After we've asked them about the event and what they thought of the event and asked them some good questions, we want to sort of cut that conversation off at the most appropriate time so that we don't just sit there and just talk nonstop about the event. We want to transition and segue to what we really want to talk to them about, and we can ask our pain questions such as these to transition to that. We could also use some of our current state questions to transition. Maybe the current state questions transition better than the pain questions, or after you've asked a couple pain questions, then you might ask a couple current state questions. I'll leave that up to you. But in some cases, if you sell a more commoditized product that you know your prospect has already purchased, sometimes current state questions are better to start out with. But the key concept to take away here is to transition on this cold call call and to use a question or two to transition away from talking about the event. The third concept that we want to talk about is that we're cold calling to follow up on the event. And what we don't want to do is, we've already talked about, we don't want to just sit there and talk about the event the entire call. And we obviously want to sell a product, but we don't want to use this cold call to sell the product. And the concept here is that we're likely trying to work through some sort of sales process. And since you're looking at this list of leads that came out of the event, and since you have a product to sell, you most likely are thinking about, okay, I have this list of leads. How can I sell my product to this contact? How can I cold call this contact from the event and sell my product and get them to purchase? And the concept here is to resist that desire, and instead of selling the product, just simply focus on starting the conversation with this prospect. So we're following up after the event. We're going to talk about the event to make it warm. We're going to then transition to talk about the things that we really want to talk about to this prospect, but we're not going to sell the product. We're just going to try to start the conversation and set the appointment with the prospect and get them moving to the next step of our process. So the cold call script that I show you is going to align with these three concepts, and the example script that I show you is going to be one of our scripts, and it's going to use all of these different points. And when we went through this process to create all these different points and things to talk about, those different steps helps us to create what we would refer to as building blocks, and we can use those building blocks to create our event follow-up cold call script. And that script goes something like this. Hi Mary, this is Michael Halper from SalesScripter. Have I caught you in the middle of anything? Then she might say, no, I'm okay, or what is this in regards to? Well, great. Well, the reason why I'm reaching out is that I see that you registered for our webinar on how to cold call contacts that sign up for your events, and I just want to follow up with you with a question or two if you have a couple of minutes. At which point she either might say, okay, sure, or I might just proceed then to ask some of my questions. So if you don't know if they actually attended, if you're looking at more of a registration list for an event, you might want to confirm if they attended. Were you actually able to attend that webinar? Then if she did, okay, great. Well, what did you think of it? Was there any information that we provided that you found helpful? Is there any information that you need or that you were hoping to get that you did not get? This is a great question to ask, because a lot of times when people register for events and go to events, they're hoping to get something. Well, if that person didn't get what they were looking for, this can create a great opportunity for you to schedule a meeting on another day where you can deliver and provide the information that they weren't able to get. So this is a great question. Are there any questions that you have from the event? You know, maybe there was questions that they left with that they weren't able to ask. Certainly, for example, there might be a webinar where someone didn't ask their question, or maybe they asked a question at the event, but their question didn't get answered. So this is a great question. Did you think the event was a good use of your time? What motivated you to sign up and to come to the event? This is a great question. This might be one of the best questions of the set, which is, what was their motivation? Whether the contact attended the event or not, one thing is for sure is that they took the step to register, and that is a significant step. So what was their motivation? And you certainly could assume, if you sell product X, that someone would have a particular motivation to register for that event. But don't assume that. Get the prospect to answer in their own words what motivated them. The answer to this question could be very insightful to you and very helpful for you to figure out what's going on with them. What is the problem that they're trying to solve? What is the need that they need to address? And that could maybe help you to identify an opportunity for something that you sell. So when you go through these questions, you may find a justification for closing the prospect on an appointment on another day, or some sort of follow-up discussion or task, or to create a new opportunity. But most likely this could just be a friendly exchange where you're learning more about the prospect. And if that's the case, then this is where you transition and segue back to making it more of a cold call. And the way to do that, as I've already discussed, is then you could transition to asking some of your pain questions by saying something like this. Okay, well, that's great. Well, I tell you what, while I have you on the line, could I ask you real quick, how are the reps doing with knowing what to say and ask? How important is it to decrease training time? How do you feel about the amount of credit that the training department is getting? So there's some conversational questions trying to figure out, does the prospect have some of the pain points points that I can help to solve. And either after that or instead of that, you could ask some of your current state questions. Hey, if I could ask you real quick, are you guys using any type of sales script today or any type of sales playbook? Okay. Do you guys use any type of sales methodology? And so there's some other current state questions there. Hopefully between your pain questions and your current state questions, you might identify that there's a need to talk more, and then you could progress to trying to close for talking more. But if you're not able to do that, you could advance to sharing some pain points. Okay, well, it's interesting. It sounds like you might be doing okay over there, but a lot of sales trainers that we work with, they're having the challenge that, it's really difficult to get their sales reps to know what to say and ask. And it also takes a long time to get new sales reps ramped up and producing. Are you experiencing any of those challenges? Are you concerned about any of those areas? Hopefully in one of those previous steps, you find a justification for talking more. And right before you close the prospect on talking more in the form of asking for an appointment or talking more on another day in a conversation, what you want to do first is build interest a little bit more by sharing information about you, your product and company. And this is where you do that by saying something like, well, based on what you shared, it might make sense to talk more because, as you know, I'm with SalesScripter and we provide the Smart Sales System, which is basically a sales training program. And it's also software that includes interactive scripts and a sales role play simulator, CRM, and email automation. Our platform makes it easier for sales trainers to teach their sales reps what to say and ask, shorten the new hire ramp up time. And some ways we're different from other options out there is that we're the only web-based software platform and training platform that actually teaches their sales people what to say and ask. And we're the only sales simulation tool out there. There's no other sales simulator tool that does what we do. And for example, we actually worked with a business just like yours. We worked with their sales trainer and they were actually having difficulty getting their reps to learn the pitch. And we helped to solve that by implementing our Smart Sales System. This not only made it easier to teach their reps what to say, but ultimately it also helped to make their training department look a lot better in the organization. And so then after you've shared that information about you and how you can help the prospect and built a little bit of interest, then you can close for the next step of your sales process, which again is not selling the product, but scheduling the meeting. And you do that by saying something like, but I've called you out of the blue. I'm not sure if this is the best time to discuss this. Are you available for a brief 15 to 20 minute call where I can share some examples of how we've helped other sales trainers to shorten their new hire ramp up time and get all of their reps more successful with outbound prospecting? Are you available on Tuesday or Thursday morning of next week? Or are you available right now to continue talking about this? So there's the close, and that is the event follow-up cold call script. Hope that helps and gives you some ideas of how you can follow up with leads from events. And if that does help you and you want to return the favor, very easy for you to do. Simply like, comment, share this video, subscribe to our channel. Any of those help us and none of those cost you anything. If you like these tips, you may want to follow us on any of these social platforms. If you like this and you want more, everything I've shared with you here today is part of the Smart Sales System. SMART stands for Sales Messaging and Response Tactics. And everything I showed you in that cold call script actually builds on the sales message that we created for the product of the Smart Sales System. I went through that process really quickly where we brainstormed the benefits and the pain points and the pain questions. And that is level 1 of the Smart Sales System, which is to brainstorm and organize your sales message for what you're trying to sell. And that's the foundation that everything is built on, because as you could see in this video, once we had all those building blocks, then we used that to create our event follow-up script. And it was really easy to create that script once we had the foundation of the sales message. And once you have your script, then it's about making that cold call and how to bounce around that cold call script from one section to another, or how to deal with any objections that come up when we're using that cold call script. And that's all part of level 3. Now, the good news is that if you want to implement and learn the Smart Sales System, it's all on YouTube and you can do it all for free. All you have to do is go to this playlist, the Smart Sales System, Sell Smarter, Not Harder, and there's a module module that will take you through every step of the way of learning the Smart Sales System. Now, we give away our whole sales training program for free because all of this does align with the product that we do sell called Sales Scripter. Sales Scripter aligns with level 1, which is the sales message, because it has an area called the Sales Message Builder, which takes you through all of those steps of brainstorming and building your sales message. And the great thing is that once you have your sales message in Sales Scripter, it aligns with level 2 because it provides an area called the Sales Playbook, which is a library of sales scripts and emails and voicemails and objection responses. And what I've actually highlighted here, you could see actually in the Sales Scripts folder, there is a cold call script event follow-up template. That is actually the cold call script that I showed you here today. So in the same way in the slides here today that I brainstormed the product being sold and we use that to create building blocks, and then we use the building blocks to create the script, the software does that exact same thing. And if your sales message is in Sales Scripter, you actually will get an event follow-up script in the library along with many others. And certainly Sales Scripter aligns with level 3, providing full CRM and email automation functionality. And certainly the upgrade from there would be to purchase consulting hours with me. The most common area that I work with clients is level 1, helping clients to brainstorm and build their sales message. And certainly then I can work with you. Then I also work with clients on level 2 to use their sales message to create their sales scripts and their email campaigns and email messages. If that's interesting, but you still don't know what to do, you may want to check out my book, The Smart Sales System. You can get a copy here and I'll put a link in the description. That's pretty much it. If you want more information, the best place to go is salesscripter.com. If you want more help, there are plenty of videos to provide sales tips. There are also ebooks that you can download for free. If you want more information on the product of Sales Scripter, there are plenty of demo videos that explain all the different things that it can do. If you want to contact us, you can get our phone number, email address, and there's a chat window as well on our website. Thanks for being here. Hope this was helpful, and we'll see you on the next video. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.